Let's head back up to the start-finish line now. Pat O'Day is everything. He is, well, he's been a boat owner, certainly. He's been the rock guru in the Pacific Northwest since the 50s and 60s. Did you know he was also a botanist? And that's because he knows about a very specific tree that is the most famous tree in the Northwest. Pat.
Well, you know, on the Columbia River in Tri-Cities in late July, the sun bears down unmercifully on that race course for the annual Columbia Cup. But in the pits, there is one truly remarkable feature: a giant spreading maple tree. It's at the east end of the pits, and it was the late Bernie Little that talked Budweiser into sponsorship of that race, and in the process, he assumed the enviable position in the shade underneath that wonderful tree for his race boats and crew and his big bus. Well, then a few years later, it was noted that this aged but gorgeous giant maple had developed what was thought to be a fatal disease as it began losing its leaves in the spring. Well, local experts opined that death was at hand for that mighty tree, and plans were made for its removal. But then Bernie heard the news, and Bernie shouted, "Don't touch that tree!" He immediately hired and sent the nation's top arboreal physicians to see if it could be saved. Now, in short, they injected it, or whatever tree doctors do to sick trees. Anyway, they defeated the disease, and here it is, as you see it in pictures I took over there just last weekend, in perfect, splendid health. Now, following Bernie's death, that oh-so-cherished spot in the pits was up for grabs. The Tri-City Race Committee determined that the winning team each year would earn the right the following year for that enviable, superior shaded spot in their pits. Now, last year, the Elstroms, Dave Vilwalk, and the Elam team had their beautiful orange equipment under that tree. But last year, shade and all, Elam was defeated by Steve, David, and the Oberto. So last week, and again this year, the old boy Oberto, who won last Sunday, and again next year, will enjoy that choice spot. Now, friends, if you knew the great Bernie Little, you know that he looks down from heaven and says, "Yeah, it's true, only God can make a tree, but it took me, Bernie Little, to fix it." And that's why in Tri-Cities it is and will always be called the Bernie tree.